Peace. Welcome back to another episode of Spears and Mics. I'm your host, Wize. We got Shaka Zulu King L1, Zulu King Just P,
Peace,
and this
peace.
very special guest I'm delighted to have, Seth Wilson, aka Wize, aka my favorite cousin.
Yeah.
Peace, peace.
Yo, welcome, welcome,
Pre-
welcome to Spears and Mics. Appreciate the
Appreciate
brother Wise coming on here. To Spears and Mics. Just wanted to let everybody know, big shout out to the supporters. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Check out our previous episode if you haven't. Episode 12 with Mike One of Omega Zulus. It's a dope episode. We talked about his journey through hip hop, his journey as a loctician. Him and his sister Queen was dropping some heavy jewels on hip hop, organizing, and locks and,
and
and
urban
also
gardening too.
urban gardening as well. Some real
Word,
heavy jewelry
farming.
on that. So
Word,
check out the previous episode and keep it tuned to Spears and Mics. Peace,
word, peace.
man. Yo, Wise, I want to thank you
peace.
for coming through, brother. Like, me and the brothers been talking about bringing you on. We saw that you were recently in the media and actually also on the news today. NBC wrapped up an interview with you, right, about the Columbus Dance Theater.
Yeah. Yo, peace. Appreciate y'all for having me on here. Um, to give y'all a little insight of, I guess, what I've been up to for the past 16 years or so. Um,
Wow.
I've been out here in Columbus, Ohio for about 16 years. Me and my wife, Jamie, we met in New York dancing.
Hmm.
And then we ended up here dancing, and about 6 years ago, we took over the company that we were dancing for, which is Columbus Dance Theater.
That's
So
dope.
it's
Dope,
been a
dope.
journey. It's been a journey. In
You've
between
really
all of
given your
it,
life to this dancing stuff, huh?
oh yeah. Um, my mom made me do it since I was 4. She conned me into ballet with tap shoes. You know,
Hmm.
she was like, "Come do this tap class," and then when I got there, they made me do ballet too. And then um she kind of made me do it, and then I had the option of doing that or running track with my dad, and I wasn't feeling the running, so I stuck with the ballet. And then I think about the time I turned like 11, 12, I started really liking it. Um, Mostly because that's the time I started partnering, like dancing with girls in ballet. And so I was like, all right, I could do this. I could do this. I could live with this.
Mm.
And so and then I met my wife, and now here we are, through
Word.
but and then mostly because I ain't want to let my mom down. Like she always be like, "Oh, you don't want to do it no more." And you know how when you're young, you be like, "Nah, mom, I'll do it. I'll do it," just so
Hmm.
that you don't let your mom down. But there was a
Yo,
point where I didn't want to do it. But if I hadn't stuck with it, I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing today. So
dope.
shout out to the
Yo,
moms.
word. Hey, yo, I was about to say, shout
For
out
real.
on Tony, Dr. Antoinette Wilson. And I gotta say that because there's a lot of people that be calling themselves doctors and they don't have the paperwork to back it up. But my aunt, which is Wise's mother, definitely got her doctorate degree. She's an educator for over about almost 40 years, right?
Word,
Just
my
about.
whole life. So
Yeah, our whole life. Yeah,
our whole
word.
life.
So like she's actually, when you see her, you salute her as Dr. Wilson. That's a fact.
Word.
Right.
But
Not like Dr. Umar.
word. I ain't want to say that, but word. Um, yeah, it is what it is. But um You were in a publication, and like L said, you were interviewed by NBC. Tell us about that a little bit. Like, why were you guys interviewed? Why were you in the newspaper about a week ago? Talk about
Um,
that, because we're gonna get into your origin, but like talk about like the current thing that's going on.
well, the company that we had is a nonprofit dance school and company, and it's been in the community for 26 years, right? Previous to us running it, another person was running it, and he he resigned and got let go under some shady allegations, right?
Right,
And
right.
it's just crazy, like how the world is. Everybody's like doing some shady stuff,
And
having
getting canceled.
allegations, And I worked with the director. I worked with the former director for over a decade, and that stuff goes right under your nose, you
Right.
know. So I just say that because we just gotta be careful, especially I know like L, why we are parents, you know.
Absolutely.
P2.
P, you
P2,
too?
P2, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or my fault, I didn't mean to, I wasn't sure. Um, I know Razor is too, but as parents, like just like really watching our children and protecting them and making sure we're aware of what's going on. Um, because these people out here are crazy, as we see in the news
Hmm.
and with everything every time you turn around. But anyway, he resigned. um my wife and I, like, the board of directors literally called us, right, overnight and was like, can you take over? We had a man, this was crazy. My wife was pregnant with our daughter, um and we had a show, right? So the week that dude got fired and resigned, my wife on that Friday had our baby, C-section, in the
Mm.
hospital, right? Was out of the hospital Sunday, back to work on Monday, had the baby and everything. We running the show. We're now the new bosses.
That's
For
crazy.
me, like making that decision to say yes, it was like cuz I was a dancer, right? So imagine, like, in our company, everybody's really close. It's like a family, right? And then like you get put in charge with, all right, it's up to you to lead these people. Like you could either lead these people or you could just say, I'm done, I wash my hands. So being the person that I am, I think about my friends, I think about my family, and I'm like, I like this is all these people have. This is their job. I gotta make this work for them, right? So me and my wife just went into action. Um, I know I'm going a little all over the place.
No,
But
not at
Nah, go
all.
ahead. Nah, do you, do
like
you?
just getting to this point was a hardship. He left us in debt to the IRS, in debt to the landlord of the building that we had, right? And everything. That was 6 years ago. So I'm gonna just skip all the story. We still here. You know what I'm
Hey, no
saying?
doubt.
We still
Salute.
here. Yo, we lost funding from, like, we lost the government grants, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But we back. Um, Shout out to those people who, saw that, because me and my wife, they're like, who are y'all? Who are these people? We're like, why are we gonna fund you? We don't know you. We don't know your business ethic. We don't know what you can bring to the community. but I think we've proven ourselves at this point. So we're back in the good graces of all of the funders that we lost and everything. So anyway, our big thing is we have a no child turned away policy, right? And we base our tuition on a sliding scale. So if you if you can't afford it, then you could come and dance for free, right? And then the rest
Wow.
is on a sliding scale. But at the same time, if I give you a scholarship, then you have to maintain like 80% attendance. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
also contribute to the program, contribute to what's going on, meaning like, you know, clean the windows, clean the mirrors or whatever. You see the garbage is like, you know,
Help out, team effort.
help out. Yeah, and it also gives these kids a sense of like responsibility at a young age to
Right.
to not feel entitled, but to feel like I am contributing to the cause. You know what I'm saying? So
It's kind of similar to like martial arts. Like when you take it, they get disciplined, they're learning an art, you know.
um
So
see, I always explain it like that. I always compare like ballet to martial arts, like the discipline that you learn in dance is similar. Like, you know, martial arts is an art. It's a moving art when you think about it, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Definitely.
Um it's how you use your body, how fast you could use your body to
right,
rhythms, to whatever. It's very similar to dance, the technique and the discipline, you know.
right.
Um, but yeah, I try to cause one of the there's a big stigma, of course, with men in ballet, right? And
Hmm.
I gotta like the thing is I've been doing this since I was 3, right? I've
Wow.
also, you know, I'm I'm black. I consider myself black, but from
You are black.
the outside world,
Right.
growing up, I grew up in black communities, but when you young, when you what, however old you are in first grade, what, 6,
6 years old.
Like six, yeah.
like the other kids don't see you as black. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I was the white boy, the the F word white boy who did ballet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So like I just had to always prove myself. And I never was the person to be like, I'm not gonna tell you I don't do ballet. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Like I do ballet. Yeah. Like
right, right, right.
So,
so
like, I know we getting away from the initial question, but I'm
yeah,
glad
yeah.
you touched on it before I even asked you because, um, like, I know the story. Obviously, we're cousins. We grew up together, but a lot of people, um, don't know, like, the challenges that you faced growing up in the urban city of New York, in the hood, and then going to, these dance companies, and then like and dealing with that, and then coming back home dealing with that. So what are the like the challenges you've been facing? Challenges like all the way up to adulthood, am I right? Like with
Yeah,
like as
yeah.
far as like being a dancer, being black, and being um heterosexual too. You know
Um
what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to like, knock anyone, but like I know, like I said, I know your story. So, what was some of the like challenges you faced on both sides, like in the dance world and outside of the dance world in the hood?
um yeah, it's crazy. Um I got a lot of stories, but these kids, the generation nowadays has it easier because it's more accepted. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Dance and stuff. and especially where I'm at right here, we in Ohio, but like, we grew up in New York in the middle of the 90s, like in the
Right.
90s, in the
80s, 90s,
early
right,
90s,
right.
like, I
Late
mean, we was
80s,
running around the street in the 90s, you know what
right.
I'm saying? And not necessarily running around the street, but like I lived in Queens and I went to school in Manhattan, you know. So
Right.
like there was all of this interaction before I got to where I had to get to on a regular basis. And so, you know, going from my neighborhood to to the train, I grew up as like you on the defense already because you the white boy in the hood making your way through, even though we know I'm not white, you know what I'm saying? But as a like I've been going to the city on the train by myself since I was about 11, you know. Um and I think like for a New Yorker that's
It's
normal.
normal. Right,
You know what I'm saying? But like out
right,
here I look at these 11-year-olds and I'm like, no way. No way would you be on a train in New York. But that's what I'm saying. The stuff that we had to face at 11, riding on the subway to get to wherever, and then yeah, I had to defend myself in school, and then going to dance. Like, I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but I got one story. Like, I was in LaGuardia High School. That's the fame school. You know what I'm saying? I went there for
all right.
dance. I was
Mm.
excited.
And let them
Yo,
know you was there when Nicki Minaj was there too. Let them know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Me and Nikki used to ride the train a little. Um, I was there with a lot of people, man. Michael Che was there. A lot of people. I ain't gonna name drop, but yeah,
Right.
I was there. Um, 96, I remember. This was in 96 in the department, in the dance department, there was a student who was transitioning in 96, right? Um
Before
and-
that was very common, where it was less common.
yeah, and he got his own dressing room, his own locker, he used to use the teachers' bathrooms. They used to let him go in the teacher's bathroom and all that. But anyway, I'm in the like as a male dancer, you have to defend yourself from improper advances. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And it's just, I guess, growing up, it was difficult because like I didn't want to be seen a lot of different ways. I didn't want to be seen as someone who hates someone, and I didn't want to be seen as something I'm not as well. So it was
Right.
a difficult balance to maintain. I was talking
Kind of
about
got a
that person
tightrope.
because they
It's like a
tried to
tightrope.
touch me, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
and
Like an
so
unwelcome advance and someone.
exactly, and as a youth, I proceeded to defend myself,
Right.
but I got suspended for it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's
Right.
like, but like that's not okay. Like,
So you think this is like something common in the dance community that people are dealing with? Unwelcome advances and stuff like
I
that.
can't speak of what happens now because the generations now are very different.
Right.
You know, like they
We're
have
living in
social
different times
media.
now.
Exactly. They
Hmm.
have the ability to make their voice heard without like fear of retaliation or being penalized, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think growing up, um, in the era that I did, and before me, you know,
You
a
could have been
lot.
thrown out of the program. You could have been
Right.
thrown out of a
Or
program or been
not
blacklisted,
casted,
blackballed. Right.
blacklisted.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for, standing your ground and saying, nah, like, this is not who I am. I don't,
And
leave me
so,
alone.
like right now, you know, at Columbus Dance Theater, it's a very safe space for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's a very safe space. Also, because of things that I have learned from growing up, right? Um, an example I could give you, because you probably, I'm sure you've seen this before in your life, like in a gym, right? Like the YMCA or something. There'll be somebody's grandfather in there in the locker room, butt naked,
Hmm.
walking around, talking about, in my day, everybody used to walk around like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
And we
it's
like,
it's
nah,
inappropriate.
nah, we not in
Mm.
your day. So,
Right.
like at my studio, you know, like there's just things like also like at other in my life, like I don't want to say any institutions, but when I've danced at places that had adults and children, I just, you know, as a youth, I would feel weird when there would be a naked adult in the same dressing room as me, you know.
Right.
So like with with what we're with, I'm just making an example of like how aware I am of creating a safe space. Like I
Right.
don't want the company men in the dressing room when there are students in there. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like y'all could wait until they're done and they go. You know, several little things like in my life I've seen adults in the dance world, like let's say drop a kid home. You know what I'm saying? From a
Right.
rehearsal. Like I
Right.
have that as one of the rules with my staff. Like I don't like no nobody's taking any students home. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? None of that. No closed doors. You
Hmm.
talking to a student, doors open. You
Right.
know? It's just certain things that
Hey,
that
Wise, that's great that y'all are doing that. Not to break your wisdom.
nah, go ahead, go
You're
ahead.
you're
My
you're
fault.
firm in creating a safe space for these youth, and that's important for us as parents to hear, us as you know, good men, good people. People want to put their children where they feel they're safe. It's not just about, yeah, we're going to send them to this dance academy and they're going to be with some of the greatest teachers or in the greatest program, but does that even matter when your children are not safe?
Right,
You're creating this safe space where kids could dance and putting these rules in place to change a culture that you felt uncomfortable in as a
right,
youth. So
right,
you've had firsthand experience, um, feeling strange, feeling weird, being around creepy people, and now you've made these adjustments so that your students um, can have a safe space and feel comfortable. And that's admirable, and it's important. And I hope not just you're doing it, but I hope everyone is listening in and learning that, it's important to create safe spaces in dance, all cultural arts, and in hip hop as well, because as we see, there's predators within the culture of hip hop as well. So it's important that we create these safe spaces for youth.
word.
I got a question. Do most of your students are they familiar somewhat already with ballet, or are they learning from like basically from scratch essentially?
Both. We teach from ages 3 to 13. I mean, what am I talking about? To 13. 3 to 18. So 3 to adult, and our company, are adults, but we take sometimes we take trainees, which are like students who are finishing high school. But like I have one student who's been there since he was 3, and he dances in the company now, and he's 21. you know.
Wow.
And I've had a couple of students like that who, I mean, we've trained them and they've stayed with us and now dance in the company. Um, so yeah, we do. And some kids come in with, you know, some training. We get kids who are like, I hate my dance school and I heard great things about yours. And then they come and they love it, and then,
Hmm.
you know,
It's a
not
different
Right, right,
experience for them.
not to brag, but
Hmm.
right.
I also come from a culture of dance where it's very negative, right? Where there's no positive reinforcement. And teaching these kids, I've learned, yeah, some kids you need that, like, need to be hard on, but some kids need like positive reinforcement in order to improve and stuff. So this has been a big learning experience as well. But um, being from New York, some of the things that I'm trying to provide here is like accessibility to arts, right? To what we do. So like at my building, what we did was we painted the building white on the inside, right? And then we put a campaign out on social media to local visual artists, right? To come and put their art on our walls. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a monthly thing, and it gives them the opportunity to sell their art, and we don't take a commission or anything. It just allows us to have different art on our walls every month. You know what I'm saying? And so,
So,
like, we started
wow.
it last year, and it's filled up out for like 2 years right now. It's booked.
Wow.
So every month for the next 2 years, we just always have different paintings, works of art from local artists, you know what I'm saying? And so, um, what what I was getting at is I learned this. Jamie and I met at Dance Theater of Harlem, right? Dance Theater of Harlem is the first Black classical ballet company. You know, we met there and we learned a lot through Dance Theater Harlem because they was about getting into the community and the outreach, right? And so, um, you know, naturally you take a lot of ideas from great ideas and try to make them work where you're at. So one of the things DTH used to do, or they still do, are open houses, right? Ours is a little different. So every other month we do a free community open house on a Sunday where, you know, it's open to the community and we have different groups perform and just showcase different things like musicians, singers, actors, whoever's in the community doing stuff, do a little show, and then we go in our studio and do a little activity like a dance class, a free dance class, a free art class. One time we had improv workshop, acting, but it's just something to provide for families to do for free, you know, every other month. I want to get it to like more of a frequent thing, like once a month, but everything takes time. We got a lot of stuff we working on. But my bad, brothers, I could keep on rambling. So
No, no, no. This is good.
Nah, it's dope. I wanted to like we kind of like jumped all over the place, but that's
Yeah.
cool though because it's a lot of information and it's important. But like all right, so what's the first like take us through like the different dance schools you've danced for because I think that's important too because there's a lot of history behind them. There's a lot of important people that you ran across like,
Oh
you know,
man.
on your journey and
So, um, my first dance school was in Queens by this guy by the name of Stanley Bates. Stanley
shout out to
Bates,
Stanley
and
Bates. Or
that's when I first started dancing, and he passed away. I think he had like a brain tumor that that was left unchecked. Um, I think
yeah,
that
I
was
remember
the
when he died.
ending cause of his death. I was what
Well,
was we about 8 or younger,
yeah, something like
7
that.
when
Something
he
like that.
died. From there, I went to Bernice Johnson's, right? Um, Bernice Johnson is a legendary dance school in Queens.
I already know the name by the last name, who that
Yeah,
is.
that's Prodigy of Mobb Deep's grandmother, Bernice Johnson. Prodigy is Albert Johnson. Um, that um so I was going there and there was a lot of legends that came like if you was a black dancer in the 70s through the 90s, like you was at Bernice Johnson's, like like that movie The Wiz, like those dancers was from Bernice Johnson. She was an OG in the dance world. You know what I'm saying? In the black dance world, especially like even to this day, her name rings bells. Anyway,
That's a fact.
um, you know, I was young going there and it was crazy. Prodigy and Havoc was there, and it was crazy because at the time, like I knew their music, but I didn't really know that was who that was. It
Right.
was crazy. And like they was literally always there. And Prodigy was always looking like I thought he was high, but he was sick.
Mm.
With the sickle cell,
All right.
Um, but also Ashanti was in my class at
Mm.
Bernice Johnson, right? So like I was dancing with Ashanti, like, that's crazy.
All
When you
right.
go into Bernice Johnson's though, like it was 2 stories and the stairs was real steep and
Is this
along
Queens or Long Island? Is
this
this
is in
That's
Queens or
Queens.
Queens.
It
It's
was
it's
right
over
around the
Queens?
corner
it
from
was on
Gertz
it was
Okay.
on Merrick.
on Merritt. Yep.
You know where Jamaica is, the building's
Right
still
around the
there.
corner from Gertz Mall.
I think they
Okay.
own the building, like the family. So that building's still there, and they probably still say, well, I ain't been out there in a while, but every time I would go, I'd see it, It say like it's Bernice Johnson's Cultural Arts Center, um,
Hmm.
between Jamaica and whatever the
And Merritt,
next.
Merritt, yeah.
It's on
What's that?
Merritt,
Liberty? Yeah, it's
yeah,
Jamaica and
between
Liberty.
Jamaica and Liberty. Man, I used to hop out of the dollar van when I ain't have no money and run straight to the studio. Dollar Van guy chasing me and stuff. Anyway, but um, yeah, we was in there. You walk up the stairs, they were on the wall, like going up the stairs, right? There was just pictures plastered on the wall of people, everybody that danced there, right? And Prodigy's picture was there. And yo, I could have sworn I used to tell Watt back then, like, yo, when I figured out, yo, that's Prodigy. It was crazy because they would call Havoc Chaka. I don't know if y'all ever heard that.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
name is
yeah,
like
yeah.
Muchacho or something like that.
Or
Muchita is his
Chaka.
last name,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
his nickname was Chaka.
Yeah,
His
they
okay.
used
nickname
to.
was Chaka.
And
Yeah.
so, like, that was another confusing thing, like, why it didn't connect that, yo, that was Mob Deep right there, right? But yeah, I got stories when I finally figured out that that was Mob Deep, but not over the air stories, you know. Gotta say my rap. I was a wild child growing up in Queens, New York. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to take that picture, but somebody else got a hold of that picture of Prodigy, and it ended up in the hands of Jay-Z on the Summer Jam. So who you think took that picture?
You tell me.
we
We could
already
connect
we
the
I
already
was
dots.
knew who
there.
took the picture. We
I
already
was
knew who
plotting
took the
on the picture.
picture.
I was like, yo, I can make some money off of the picture, but I probably wouldn't have never did that for real, for real. You know what I mean? I can't like
That was a
that's
greasy move on her part.
yeah,
I'll tell
that's
you that
whack.
much.
But
Yeah. Ashanti, you foul, man. I'ma say it. If y'all ain't gonna say it, I'ma say it.
Yeah, that is foul. It is. But it's funny because when we saw it on the Summer Jam screen, me and Wize had already talked about it because
yeah,
I'm not a dancer, but because he's a dancer, my and two of my aunts are, which is his mother, the other one is one of my twin aunts, and then his sister. I went to every school he danced at. I've been to multiple performances for each. So I used to go to Bernice Johnson to see him rehearse because we played baseball together and stuff. So I used to see some of the same things he saw, not as frequent, obviously, but when I used to
Hmm.
go there. So I remember when the picture got put up there on the screen, we was talking to each other like, yeah, we know who did that. Before the
mm,
Prodigy's book came out and before all the speculation, and now we're knowing this in the
yeah.
2020s and like, you know what I'm saying? But we knew that back
Hmm.
then. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right,
In the
right,
late
But it's
right.
crazy.
1900s. You know what
Right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right, right. Because we already
But
knew.
yeah, that was crazy. But um I know Ashanti's choreographer, so do you.
Right, right, right,
Had
right, right.
spoke to him not too long ago to actually try to get them out here to do like some kind of dance work.
He fronted on you?
Nah, we went through COVID and I
Oh,
actually
okay, okay.
stopped reaching out because of COVID. But I'm
Right.
working on things here and try to get that definitely going
Yeah, he's
again.
a dope choreographer. Shout out to him. You know
Bryce
what I'm saying? Yeah,
or
shout out
but
shout out to Bryce.
but he be with her all the time. And
Right.
when I reached out to him, he said, yeah, they would be down. So,
Is that
yo,
That's
Zulu
dope.
Bryce or that's a
me and
different Bryce?
Ashanti like literally
Not
used to
not
dance
Zulu Bryce
together.
P. Not Zulu Bryce P. It's a
Nah,
it's a
nah.
different Bryce.
Dancer Bryce.
Dancing
Dancer.
Bryce. Yeah,
I
dancing
can't
Bryce.
picture Zulu Bryce as a dancer.
Doing
Word.
ballet.
Nah.
No.
Yo, but it's funny because the Bryce that we're talking about, um, if you want to reference, if you ever saw the movie Brown Sugar, at the end
Hmm.
when they're in the park, Bryce is in the movie actually at the end, like talking to somebody as the movie is going off. He's like one of the last, like before they show the the young boy and the girl like on the bench bopping. He's the
Who,
one that
Ashanti
turns up the
Bryce?
yeah, Ashanti Bright. He turns up the boom box
Oh, okay.
and he's talking to somebody. So that's Bryce. I mean, that's for point of reference. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he has like a small, minute cameo in that movie at the end. But
And
yeah.
Yo,
he's
I
not
got a
So
like when
question. Oh, before we, I'm sorry, before we leave that topic, when this whole controversy kind of took hip hop by storm, it was something that Hove put out there to try to shame Prodigy, and make him look like he's some type of girl, or
right,
maybe he tried to pass him off like he's some type of I don't know,
Al-
insinuating that he's
alternative lifestyle.
lived an
Right.
alternative lifestyle or some
Right.
type of weirdo that dressed in women's clothing. That however he tried to frame P for the public, like it was kind of like a slap in the face to those that wear that.
That
You know what I'm
wear the
saying?
tights.
Right.
Word.
You
Right.
had to feel offended to a degree, I would say, right? It probably bothered you. Did it bother you?
Nah, it ain't bother me.
I would have been ready to fight
Yo,
Hove like,
yo,
nah.
you know what's crazy about that? Fast forward to now, he's rapping about Basquiat and
Right.
paint
All
and
these
art
refined
and all of
things,
this
right.
stuff and
Right.
art. But back then, he was like shaming it, basically trying to
Right.
Yeah,
shame Prodigy, but in all actuality, shaming the whole culture of
right.
Right.
dance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Amongst so-called African Americans. That's
Um,
crazy. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
yo, I think I don't know, a lot of people are uneducated about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But when in reality, like you look at the history of ballet, like it like all ballets are like classical ballets are stories, right?
Stories, right?
Like
Right.
what is Romeo and Juliet? Is it a love story between two men? Is
Hmm.
Cinderella a love story between men? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, um, nah, none like um ballet and storytelling in ballet is a format. All ballets have a format. You know what I'm saying? There's like an opening with like a town scene, and then two couples bump into each other. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Then they start dancing together. It's just like a Disney movie, like how Disney movies are like a format,
Hmm.
but it's always a story of it's a romance story between a man and a woman. So
Right.
Right.
Nah, real talk, man. Whoever has never seen um a ballet performance, I encourage like it's dope. Like I said, I've been around it just as long as he's been around it because that's my family. So I've just been pleasured to see multiple performances, So
Right.
like you
It looks like we lost Wise.
gotta stop it.
Yeah.